Did Valentin honestly believe he could keep playing these dangerous, shadowy games without an innocent person paying the ultimate price? If you ask me, the sheer arrogance of his recent moves is staggering, and now we are looking at a situation where someone else's life is hanging in the balance because of his tangled web of secrets. When you look at the board right now, it is nothing short of a deadlocked chess game, and the pieces are scattered in the most perilous way imaginable. We are witnessing a masterclass in tension, and the stakes have never been higher for the residents of Port Charles. To truly understand the gravity of this situation, we have to analyze the psychological motive driving every single player on this board. When Jocelyn first vanished, it was entirely predictable that Carly would try to handle the situation quietly alongside Valentin. From a strategic standpoint, it makes sense. Valentin has resources, he operates in the shadows, and Carly likely believed that keeping the circle small would prevent the kidnappers from panicking and doing something drastic. But as we all know, relying on a Cassadine is a gamble that rarely pays off. Their initial investigation quickly hit a brick wall, leading to a series of frustrating dead ends. You can almost feel the suffocating desperation setting in. For a mother like Carly, every passing hour without her daughter is a lifetime of agony. The turning point, the moment that completely shatters the fragile alliance between Carly and Valentin, is the discovery of the evidence at Windermere. Finding Jocelyn's ring on that isolated Gothic island changes everything. It is a chilling revelation. This implies that Jocelyn is not just missing. She is being held captive in a fortress that has historically been the site of countless tragedies. Windermere is not just a location, it is a symbol of dark legacy and inescapable danger. The moment that ring is found, the dynamic shifts entirely. Carly's maternal instincts override any lingering loyalty she might have had toward Valentin. The shattered trust is palpable. She realizes that Valentin's methods are failing, and worse, his very nature might be the reason they are in this mess to begin with. This realization forces Carly to make a highly calculated move. She pivots away from Valentin and turns to the one man who has always, without fail, moved heaven and earth to protect her family, Sonny Corinthos. If you ask me, this was an inevitable shift. When the chips are down, Carly does not need a spy, she needs a warlord. She needs someone who will not hesitate to burn the entire city to the ground to bring her daughter home. Setting aside their complicated past and recent grievances, Carly goes to Sonny, and the reaction is exactly what you would expect. The sleeping giant is awakened. Sonny's mobilization is swift and terrifying. He immediately activates his entire underworld network, pulling every string and calling in every favor. His psychological motive is crystal clear. Nothing matters more than family, and Jocelyn is his family. But as Sonny digs deeper into the disappearance, the investigation unearths some deeply troubling secrets. It looks like Cassius Phazon is hiding a crucial piece of the puzzle regarding this kidnapping. Why would Cassius be holding back information? Could it be that he is protecting someone, or is he leveraging Jocelyn's captivity for his own ulterior motive? Even more damning is the revelation regarding Valentin's indirect involvement. While Valentin may not have personally orchestrated Jocelyn's abduction, his shady dealings, his continuous dance with dangerous contacts, and his refusal to walk away from the criminal underworld have created an environment ripe for exploitation. His actions inadvertently painted a target on the people closest to him. This is the unforeseen fallout of Valentin's lifestyle. He always thinks he can outsmart the devil, but the devil always collects his due, and this time, the price is Jocelyn's safety. When the truth about his indirect culpability comes to light, Valentin is faced with a catastrophic reality check. The guilt must be crushing. He realizes that his presence in Carly's life is a poison, and the only way to atone for his colossal mistakes is to ensure Jocelyn's safe return, no matter the cost to himself. As the rescue mission at Windermere enters its final critical phase, Valentin decides to take on an incredibly dangerous, almost suicidal task. He knows he has lost Carly forever, but he can at least try to save her daughter. This brings us to a fascinating crossroads in the narrative. Based on the clues we are seeing, the writers are setting up a massive climax at Windermere, and I believe we are looking at two very distinct paths for Valentin Cassadine's ultimate fate. Scenario A suggests a fiery, tragic end for Valentin. Could it be that he realizes the only way to guarantee Sonny and Carly have enough time to extract Jocelyn is to create a massive diversion? We could be looking at a scenario where Valentin intentionally triggers an explosion or engages in a heavily outgunned shootout with the captors. In this version of events, Valentin sacrifices his own life in a blaze of glory. It would be a poetic, albeit devastating, end to his character arc. A man who lived his life in the moral gray area finally makes a definitively selfless choice, trading his life to save an innocent girl. It looks like this would be the ultimate redemption, washing away his sins with a final act of undeniable heroism. If this happens, it permanently closes the book on Valentin, leaving a legacy of complicated grief. On the other hand, we have to seriously consider scenario B. What if Valentin survives the harrowing ordeal at Windermere, but the cost is his freedom? This implies that during the chaos of the rescue, law enforcement descends on the island. Valentin, already a man with a target on his back and a history of escaping justice, is finally cornered. Instead of fleeing, which would jeopardize the rescue operation, he surrenders. He allows himself to be captured, knowing full well that his past crimes, combined with whatever laws he broke during this current mess, will send him straight back to a maximum security prison. If you ask me, this might be an even harsher punishment for a man like Valentin than death. To be stripped of his power, his wealth, and his freedom, locked in a cage with the knowledge that he destroyed his relationship with Carly through his own hubris, it would be a fitting consequence for his relentless deception. Regardless of whether we get scenario A or scenario B, one thing is absolutely certain. The romantic relationship between Carly and Valentin is dead and buried. The shattered trust cannot be repaired. Carly has experienced a profound awakening during this nightmare. She has seen firsthand that when the world is falling apart, Valentin's secrets only drag her deeper into the abyss. But more importantly, she has seen who actually shows up. Throughout this entire grueling ordeal, Sonny has been her rock. The shared trauma of fearing for Jocelyn's life, the sleepless nights, the strategic planning, and the adrenaline-fueled rescue mission have stripped away all the anger and resentment that had built up between them. They are forced into the trenches together, and in that high-pressure environment, their fundamental connection is undeniable. Carly realizes that the man who will catch her when she falls is, and always has been, Sonny Corinthos. If the rescue is successful, and all signs point to Sonny and Carly pulling off a miracle at Windermere, the aftermath is going to be incredibly emotional. We can anticipate a deeply moving reunion scene in Port Charles when Jocelyn is finally brought home safe. The relief of seeing her daughter alive will undoubtedly break down the last remaining emotional walls Carly has constructed. In the quiet moments following the storm, when the adrenaline fades and the reality of what they just survived sets in, Sonny and Carly will have to face the truth about their feelings. It looks like they will both be forced to admit that the love between them never actually vanished. It was just buried under layers of pride, hurt, and stubbornness. The profound losses they have faced, the bitter misunderstandings, and the painful separations of the past have seemingly cleared the path for a new beginning. This implies that we are on the verge of a massive reset for one of the most iconic dynamics in the history of Port Charles. By working together to save Jocelyn, they have proven that they are an unstoppable force. The narrative seems to be closing the chapter on their respective solo journeys and pulling them back into each other's orbit. It appears they will make the conscious decision to give their relationship another chance, stepping into a new era with a deeper understanding of what they mean to one another. However, as a seasoned viewer, I have to maintain a healthy dose of skepticism. While it is heartwarming to think about Sonny and Carly finding their way back to each other after such a dark and terrifying ordeal, you have to wonder how long the peace will actually last. Their history is a cycle of intense passion followed by catastrophic destruction. Are they truly capable of maintaining a stable, healthy relationship, or is it only the adrenaline of a crisis that binds them together? Can Carly truly accept the inherent dangers of being tied to a mob boss, a reality she just barely escaped with Valentin? And what about the power vacuum left in the wake of Valentin's downfall? If you ask me, this reunion, while beautiful on the surface, is built on the foundation of a highly traumatic event. They are bonded by the shared terror of almost losing Jocelyn. But once the dust settles and the mundane realities of daily life return, will the old resentments resurface? Will Sonny's need for control clash with Carly's fierce independence? Only time will tell if this new chapter is a genuine happily ever after, or just the calm before the next inevitable storm. But for now, it seems the writers are determined to give the audience exactly what they have been waiting for: the triumphant return of Port Charles's most formidable power couple.